everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. I'm J.M. Pedini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of your favorite chapter, Virginia NORML. It's Friday, February 17th, 2023, and that means it's time for us to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and to answer your burning questions live. Friends, we are getting down to the wire on the Virginia General Assembly. We are wrapping up session, trying to get all of those bills heard before adjournment. There's a lot going on right now. What's going on with you? Let's check in. Hey, Wanda. Hello. Hello, Carrie Ann in Indiana. Hey, Shane in Kansas. Hey, Sherry. Happy Friday to you, friend. Hey, Ellie. Oh, Ellie, you are so kind. Hey, Joshua, good to see you back. Hello, Kwame. Greetings to you as well. Sup, Folly? Rodney, just getting right to it. Right into it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Listen, elections have consequences, Virginia. Boy, oh boy, are you seeing that happen right now? It's the worst, isn't it? All right. Just taking a quick peek at some things right here. Yeah, Rodney, we're going to talk all about how much it sucks and why we are where we're at. Carrie, we have in fact gone through 75 seasons and 6 years all in the past week. Isn't it great? Sherry. Yes, on the internet. We're not going to talk about that here, but you can Google it. Hi, Mary. Good to see you back. Hey, Charlie. Happy Jerry Friday to you. Thanks for your membership. And thanks for yours as well, Mary. Hey, Shane. Good to see you. Hey, Ronson. It is, in fact, in the clouds. Evening, James. Good afternoon, Monica. Hey, Anissa. Hey, Richard. You're right. He can't. He can be here for one session or one election. Wait, one term. There we go. He can be here for one term, and that's enough for all of us. Happy Friday, Fred, in Northern Virginia. Ooh, someone go ahead and, block that guy. Thank you. Hey, Robin, good to see you back. All right, thanks everyone for checking in. Let's talk about the news. Let's talk about what's happening. Ellie, I hope not. All right, so hey everyone. Virginia NORML tracks all of the marijuana-related legislation moving through the Virginia General Assembly every session, including when we have special sessions, even though technically we're in a special session right now, and there still might be another special session. It's not going to have anything to do with cannabis. Don't get excited about that. Hey, word from the point. Good to see you. But listen, you can track all of the marijuana-related legislation, even when we're not having this super fun conversation together. You can see all of the bills, and finally, there's different colors on the board because bills are getting defeated, bills are passing, bills are getting left in committee or withdrawn. And here's where we're at. Hey, Jennifer. All right, so for those of you who haven't been playing along with the home version, all of the adult use retail bills are dead ski for this session. That's right. None of this comes as a surprise to us here at NORML. It shouldn't come as a surprise to you either. But here we are. Excuse me. So yeah, this week, hey Cassidy, go grab that NORML blog on Virginia House of Delegates Republicans, particularly in the subcommittee, again rejecting regulating the retail sale of cannabis to adults 21 and older. Now, you're right, Monica. It is. It is in fact. It is in fact awful, and it is not at all surprising. What is surprising, though, what is surprising is that this is the choice they're making, right? This is the choice that the administration is making. Because, on the record statements, those are real cute. But the people in these committees aren't voting this way because that's what their feelings are. They're voting this way because they're told this is how you were voting. That bill is not going to the governor. And it's not the speaker who's lording over cannabis. It's the speaker is getting direction from the administration that this isn't happening. So I'm confused as to why Governor Youngkin thinks it is in the best interest of public safety to continue ceding control of Virginia's marijuana market to unregulated illicit operators. And let's be super clear. When we talk about the illicit market in Virginia, frankly, anywhere else, but in Virginia, let's just boil it down to that, because that's where we are. Prior to legalization, we had the fourth largest illicit cannabis market in the nation. And one can only assume that it's ballooned a skosh since then, valued at $1.8 billion annually. $1.8 billion annually. It's not your friend who grows weed, right? It's not that your friend, the little guy. It's not someone, it's not a cottage industry. It's organized crime. I'm not being hyperbolic. Literally, it's organized crime. And so why Governor Youngkin is like, yes, you know what I want? I like organized crime in my backyard. That's what I want. I want a safe haven for organized crime right here in Virginia. That looks good on me. That looks good on the Commonwealth. This is what voters want. I mean, it's even more surprising given that there's adequate polling indicating what voters on both sides of the aisle do support, and that is legalizing and regulating the responsible use and sale of cannabis to adults 21 and older. And yet here we are. Someone took their ball and went and stood in the corner and refused to engage on the issue. In fact, every time someone asks the governor about this issue, there is an awkward pivot to talk about Delta 8. Cool, but that's not what we're talking about. And then yesterday there was an opportunity for a journalist to get a second go at it and ask a deeper question. And the word salad that came out in response is comical AF. You can check that out on VPM. VPM has an article that has some word salad quote from Governor Youngkin on cannabis retail sales that he will not commit to while he's in office, and instead says that it is up to the legislature to send him a bill. And it's real hard for the legislature to send him a bill when the administration is calling members of the House of Delegates and saying, do not send that bill to his desk. But I guess, everyone's supposed to be a good soldier and not talk out loud about what actually happens in the General Assembly. Neat. So that's what's up. You came here for the truth, and that's what we're going to dish out. Check in with your comments there. Okay, yeah, whatever. Doing almost nothing in the GA. Yep. I mean, hey, listen, Richard, I don't blame them for cracking jokes about ponies because, good God, it's exhausting in that building and you got to take it where you can get it. But yeah, whole lot of nothing, particularly on cannabis this session. Ooh, Rodney, it's not a miracle. I'm sure it feels like that. It's hard work. It happened because we did the work. We put in the time and the effort, and we took all the tiny little steps that everyone whined and complained about every minute of the day, that it wasn't good enough and it wasn't perfect enough. But you know what? Tens of thousands fewer Virginians are going to jail for weed. And that's pretty fantastic. Also, records have been cleared. Whatever. But yeah, it's not a miracle, it's work, is what it is. And thanks for showing up to help us do it. Jennifer Douglas, I don't, I don't know what bill that is. Oh, there it is. Got it right here. Yes. Thank you for asking, Jennifer Douglas. Where is Senate Bill 1214? This is a bill that was introduced by Senator Louise Lucas regarding custody and visitation, particularly as it relates to the Board of Social Services. We will colloquially refer to this as CPS, Child Protective Services, even though in fact this is the Board of Social Services. But what this would have done is amended the regulations and guidance documents to ensure that no person was being denied custody or visitation of a child based solely on the fact that the child's parent or other person responsible for the child possessed or consumed cannabis in compliance with current law. Now, this was very well intended, was not well drafted. We did provide some meaningful amendments that were adopted into the legislation. But really, it's not CPS that's coming and taking children away or denying custody or visitation because of weed. It's in custody litigation that this occurs. It's during divorce and custody battles in which the guardian ad litem, who's supposed to represent the child, or opposing counsel uses a patient's medical cannabis certification as grounds to deny custody. It happens across the Commonwealth all the time. We get calls and emails about it multiple times a year, most months out of the year. So while this bill was well intended, it didn't really get to the heart of the issue. Anyhow, it failed, which is exactly what we knew would happen with the bill once it got into the House of Delegates, because that is where all things go to die this year when they've been introduced by Democrats, is in the House of Delegates, at least as it pertains to weed. So yeah, we had a fun go at trying to get that across the finish line, knowing it never would happen. But thanks for asking, Jennifer. Ellie, thanks for that comment. Hey Rodney, we have no idea what the sales tax rate will be on adult use once they start selling it in Virginia, because no law has been passed for that. Could be 24%, could be lower. We've got to pass a retail sales bill yet, still. But yes, no tax on medical cannabis. That's how it's going to stay. Hey, Folly. I want to show your comment. Work, internets. Folly Ditch asks, did Youngkin give a reason why he doesn't want a legal regulated market? No, he does not answer this question at all. Not at all. He pivots to how his priority is regulating intoxicating hemp and how it's the General Assembly's responsibility to send him a bill, which, as I mentioned, is really difficult for the General Assembly to do when he or members of his administration are calling House leadership and telling them, do not send that bill to me. Yeah, that's always been fun to hear. People say that about their state, regardless of where they are. Their state's going to be the last to legalize it. Well, we weren't. Instead, we were the first in the South. You're welcome. Hey, Alf. So Senate, it's Delegate. Well, actually, it's Leader Kilgore. Leader. So here's what Alf is asking about Delegate Kilgore, who is House Majority Leader. So we call him Leader Kilgore. Keeps saying we need more enforcement. So to what Leader Kilgore is speaking is regarding unregulated products. Leader Kilgore is not speaking about enforcement for consumers, rather for unregulated products which continue to both pose risk to consumers and cause harm to consumers. And we don't disagree with him on that. Consumers deserve to know that what's on the label is actually what's in the package and that it's been tested by a functional, accredited, competent laboratory. And that if they are in fact harmed by a product, they have legal recourse. Yeah, JT, I know about Amazon Smile. Hey, everyone. Amazon Smile is ending their Smile program where, if you shop on Amazon and choose the NORML Foundation or Cannabis Commonwealth as your charity of choice, then we get a check at the end of the quarter. They're canceling it, but we're still going to get 3 more months matching our last contribution after the program ends. So don't give up just yet. Make sure we're your charity of choice on Amazon until the program goes away. Hey, Marcy, good to see you. Hey, Fonz. Yeah, so this was brought up a number of times during the session. Members on the other side of the aisle said, hey, if you actually care about what legalization, what retail sales look like, you ought to pass a bill now while you have the opportunity. It didn't work because, like I said, the administration was calling House leadership saying, don't send that bill to us. Rich, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. Why do I hate personal cultivation? I don't hate personal cultivation. We have personal cultivation because NORML demanded it in Virginia. Why are you bent out of shape about personal cultivation? Yeah, Kwame, you're right. Hey, Jennifer, you don't have to keep up. We have bill tracker for you, so you can just check in whenever you want and see what's going on. Marcy, look, this. I appreciate your opinion on this. Don't be led astray. Here's what's important to know. We have a legislative session every single year. You don't have to get it right and be done with it. It's not an it's not a one and done, right? We take little steps and we make it better and we make it better and we make it better. And if we weren't willing to take the little steps that everyone whined and complained about, we would not have legalization today. So, this is not a policy change approach that we get behind here. What would be better would be to do something. Something is better than nothing because we can keep improving it. And look, we've had 3 consecutive sessions now, which nothing has happened for retail sales, right? If we'd done it 3 years ago, we didn't like it in year 1, we could have changed it in year 2, and we could have changed it in year 3. Instead, we've got nothing. And that's super cool for people who have the ability to cultivate at home. That's great for people who are good at cultivating plants, or can afford to cultivate plants or live in a place where they can cultivate plants. But if you can't, you don't really have any great options other than the medical program. Fortunately, we don't have a made-up list of conditions in Virginia. We don't have age restrictions on our medical program. We don't have tax on our medical program. We allow telehealth and delivery. But we still have a kooky model that was enacted under a Republican-controlled legislature that required vertical integration, that limited licensure to only 5 companies. And no one in the Virginia General Assembly has done anything to expand that. So here we are. We've had this model for years, right? So we could have expanded it, could have changed it. No appetite for that. So, good and bad here in Virginia, but just sticking your head in the sand and doing nothing is not an option. And, that's where we've been for 3 years, and it's working out great for everyone. People want to go to the store and buy cannabis because it's legal, and they should be able to do that. But they can't. And that's not how you, where we are now is not a policy status that provides for public or consumer safety. It's irresponsible. Oh, Ellie. Hey, Al. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in with that. Like literally what we're talking about, right? Oh, Rodney, I see your comments. I see everyone's comments in chronological order, so I don't know to what you were saying when I was certified. That was what I was told. Oh, you probably mean about adult use tax rate. Yeah. People who work at places might not be policy experts. That's okay. Yep, you're right, Alf. Oh, Corey, thanks for coming. Welcome, Fred. High five, Rich. All right, Jennifer Douglas coming in with the smart comment. Yeah, absolutely. Every seat is up for re-election in November. I had a conversation with my colleagues starting early this morning about preparing for that and making sure voters are engaged on cannabis and other criminal justice reform issues, making sure that they are well educated, that candidates are asked the tough questions, and that voters are mobilized to get to the polls. I encourage all of you to join us in this work. Of course, NORML does have a voter guide. It's called Smoke the Vote. And Virginia NORML has a candidate survey that helps us get the real information out of the candidates and put it into the guide. We don't just ask them easy peasy lame questions like, do you support legalizing marijuana? Because guess what? Cannabis is already legal in Virginia, so I don't care if you support it or not. You're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube. But we do ask questions about things like retail sales, or we asked about expungement, but we're pretty good on expungement at this point. So we will take a look at where we land after this session. We will tighten up and rework the candidate survey so that it's asking the appropriate questions based on what came out in the wash in the 2023 General Assembly session. Then we will send that to all the candidates. Start plugging that information in to Smoke the Vote. Now, of course, there will be campaign events and debates around the state. We will also be able to provide you with we'll call them sample questions. If you are going to a campaign event or to a debate, to a meet and greet, and you want to ask the candidates questions about cannabis, we will have a handy dandy script for you. So you can just read your question, get out your phone, and record their answer. Ooh. I'm reading your questions to catch up. I'm just going to put this Kwame's quote up, comment up while I read this. Oh yeah. Hey, Insulin Type 1, good to see you back. Insulin says they really dropped the ball on adult use. Yes, they did. So much tax revenue lost for the state. So much, so much. Voting matters. Couldn't say it better myself, but I'll try. Yeah. Yep. And missed jobs. Missed jobs for sure. Oh, okay. Oh. Hey, Richard, tell me more about this. You want to expand growing opportunities from individuals. You have a lot of acreage, but live in the middle of town where your only option is to grow indoors, just not practical. Um, yeah, I mean, that's certainly the case for a lot of people who live in apartments or other multi-family housing and they can't cultivate outdoors. You know? Yep. Hey, Polly. I actually did radio in Maryland this week to talk about the incredible progress that they've got going on in that state. And I really love what their governor has said about voters want legalization. And so we have to be ready July 1 of 2023 to meet those needs. And I can't wait till July 1, 2023 when everyone is celebrating what Maryland will do, just like what Connecticut just did, just like what Missouri just did, which is legalize it and then turn on sales at existing operators for adults 21 and older. Um, it's fascinating that other states do it. It's like, yay, sales began, high five. And when we talk about doing that in Virginia, people just whine and cry their full spectrum tears about, oh no, 4 companies are going to be able to sell cannabis. Oh, right. I forgot. The whole point of legalization was to prioritize who gets to make money first or next off of consumers, not the actual consumers. If only there were an organization that represented solely consumers. Huh. Whew. All right. Whew. Marcy, I'm so glad you emailed Senator Chase about her vote. Shanna. Hi, Shanna. Thank you, Shanna. Hello, Matthew. Good to see you. Melissa, we absolutely have, we call them bird dogging guides, but we will just call it something else when we post it on the website for you. But we'll have those ready once we get a little bit away from session. Yeah, Rodney, they should allow for retail of seeds, but no one bothered to introduce legislation that would have changed the definition of marijuana to remove the word seeds. Had they done that, then you could do that, but they didn't. So here we are. I'm perfectly aware that the DEA has issued an opinion that, in fact, seeds are considered, in their opinion, hemp. But the DEA's opinion does not change Virginia law. So you would have had to have legislation removing the word seeds from the definition of marijuana, but we didn't. So is it legal to sell seeds in Virginia that are called cannabis or called marijuana? No. Do people do it? Obviously. Is it legal? And can you get away from it? Get away with it are two different questions. But we're just telling you that it's not legal. Oh, hey, Charlie. Charlie says, if all goes south and we end up with Republican control of both houses in the General Assembly, could they repeal legalization? Could they? Sure. Would it be the first state to ever do that? Yes. And is that likely? It's not likely. That'd be pretty absurd. But it's not something they couldn't do if they had the votes. I also remind you though, Charlie, in the Senate, the retail sales bills in the Senate passed with bipartisan support. You know, it's true for everyone, Rich. James, that is really fascinating to hear. I love to hear consumer perspectives since that's what we do at NORML, is to represent consumers. And yeah, I mean, you know, we heard a lot of which happens in a new market. Any new market, prices are high. And that's what happened in Virginia. It's not special, but now Virginia prices are consistent with East Coast prices. So, you know, we're not an outlier. We're consistent with the rest of the East Coast. And, you know, of course, there's no substitute for insurance. And that's what's missing in medical cannabis. But at least our prices have come down significantly. Not our prices, the state's. You know, our prices on memberships here at Virginia NORML are still the same as they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Ellie, I'm glad that we were able to teach you how to lobby. Yep, yep. Oh, Josh, it's like you've heard this before. Yeah, newsflash. The companies that are licensed to sell cannabis in Virginia have been licensed to sell cannabis in Virginia for some time. They're already the only ones. And that's because that's how Republicans set this program up and how the entire General Assembly has upheld it without any expansion. You know, there were bills to expand the medical cannabis program through licensure this year. And I'm not talking about a real kooky one that went sideways. I'm talking about a practical one that would have just said, hey, do you want to get licensed for a dispensary and just a dispensary? You can do that. There was a call that said, you're not sending that bill to this governor. Whew. Yeah, you guys are giving me all the great comments today. I love it. Hey, Kwame, I know what's in the article is what I know. Yeah. So, Rich, it's not about the fact that there's THC in the seeds. It's the fact that seeds are included in the definition of marijuana in Virginia. That's the real problem. That's the issue, the legal issue, quandary in Virginia. Oh. I did see Dennis. Okay, Dennis said, did I see what Rhode Island is trying to do with no more than 3 people consuming or something like that? Yes, I have in fact seen that. There's some convoluted bill in Rhode Island that it's like if 3 people get together and consume, I think they say like psychotropic substances or something weird like that, then they want to make that illegal, even though cannabis is legal for adults in Rhode Island. One of the bill's sponsors has said they didn't intend it to be like that, and they're going to get together and work on it, but I don't think it's going anywhere. Hello, Skyline. I'm going to get to your question, Skyline, but first, hey, Cassidy, Marcy wants to know how many medical dispensaries are in Virginia, and I presume you mean are open now. Hey, Marcy, there's a website for that. It's ours, but Cassidy will probably count and tell you in the comments, or maybe Ben will. I don't know. Someone will. All right, let's talk about this. First of all, thank you, Skyline, for dropping a link to the DEA opinion, so we don't have to go dig that up right now. What happened is so the way to get the DEA to answer your question is to write them a letter asking for an opinion, and someone did that last August, and they responded. And this is not news to NORML because we've been clear on this from the beginning. Synthetic THC, synthetic tetrahydrocannabinols, are Schedule 1. The Agriculture Improvement Act, the Farm Bill, did not amend the Federal Controlled Substances Code for synthetic THC. That's been clear. That's been in the Federal Register for years now. So this letter asking for clarity is just that, but it says essentially the same thing, that they ask specifically about THCO, which is an acetate, and THCO does not occur naturally. THCO, whether it's delta 8 THCO or delta 9 THCO, can only be created through a chemical synthesis. Therefore, it is a synthetic. And since it is a synthetic THC, it is a Schedule 1 drug. It is not legal. It was not legalized by the Farm Bill. We've been saying this for a very long time at NORML. So this letter from the DEA comes as no surprise, much like the outcome of this General Assembly session. It comes as no surprise to us. What will that mean moving forward? I've heard people, in fact, I responded to some inquiries regarding a call in New Jersey today. I responded to some inquiries regarding Virginia today about this. And then, well, I hope the DEA is going to provide some clarity. DEA did provide clarity. First of all, it's in the Federal Controlled Substances Code right now. Synthetic THC is Schedule 1, except for Marinol. It's like when in Virginia, when they're like, oh, legalization, and law enforcement doesn't know what's legal and what's not. Well, it's in code. So I don't know why making new laws makes existing laws more, it's already there. Like law enforcement in Virginia were apparently confused or didn't know how to enforce possession with intent to distribute. Legalization didn't change that code section. PWID's still in there. Just like the Farm Bill didn't change Controlled Substances Code for synthetic THC. So are they going to issue more clarification? Are they going to like double schedule those? Probably not, because they're already scheduled. James, that's great. And hey, Shanna, I hope you're still watching. Shanna, James would love to see RISE offer a 10% discount to Medicare and Medicaid like they do for veterans. We'll see what we can do about that. Thank you, Dawn. 17. There are 17 dispensaries operational in Virginia. I'm glad you had time to count. Marcy. So the M in NORML stands for marijuana, not mushrooms. But if you're interested in that type of legalization, the legislators who worked on the issue last session and this session are Delegate Don Adams and Senator Ghazala Hashmi. So you could contact them. You're welcome. Oh, Skyline, I don't know what this state will do. Someone will probably ask us for another spreadsheet about what's legal and what's not. I don't know. Enforcing laws is apparently hard. Let's find out together. THCA delta 8 is not Schedule 1. Oh. All right, David. So like delta 8 tetrahydrocannabinolic, delta 8 tetrahydrocannabinolic acid like delta 8 that occurs naturally in the plant prior to being decarboxylated. If it occurs naturally in the plant, then, and it's occurring naturally in hemp, then it's not Schedule 1. But if you synthesize it, then it's a synthetic, and all synthetics are Schedule 1. Maybe read whichever letter from the DE, read the letter from the 3-judge panel about copyright. Copyright law. I love how people are like, that's the one I want. That supports my business model. Greetings to you in Duffield. I didn't even know that was a place. Hi, Liz. Good to see you, friend. Rodney, lots of people wish Medicaid would pay for medical cannabis. People wish insurance in general would pay for medical cannabis. Am I pissed at what, Evan? I mean, probably. I'm always pissed at things. Just kidding. JT, since you brought this up, we're going to talk about it. People love to talk about fentanyl-laced weed. And whenever someone brings it up, journalists in particular, the first thing we say is, well, have you seen the tox report? Did it go to a lab? What did the forensic toxicologist say? Right? Because there's only been one instance in which a lab has validated that there was fentanyl on cannabis in the United States. And the lab also indicated that happened as cross-contamination during the collection point, not that it was intentionally laced. I'm not saying this doesn't happen. People do all kinds of weird stuff. And I guess if it helps like push your objectives and you like to say, oh, fentanyl laced weed, that's dangerous. I mean, look, we're not saying it can't happen. It's just not the thing that people think it is. So choose your words wisely, friends. Golden Virginia tobacco. Okay. Ooh. Oh, John, that's cool. Hey, John, so congratulations on getting some work done in Mississippi, I guess. We'd love for you to come back to Virginia, and you want to know if that's out the window. Well, it's not entirely out the window, but we're not able to meet that January 1, 2024 date. Remember back in 2021 when we passed legalization and we thought 2024 was ridiculous and like 100 years away, and why would we wait until then to legalize retail sales? And now we can't even do that. Look, people on both sides of the aisle had stupid ideas about cannabis legalization and regulation, and they have failed Virginians on an epic scale, right? The reenactment clause in 2021, Democrats, terrible idea, super irresponsible. You could have done everything in 2021, and whatever wasn't perfect, you could have come back and fixed it the next year. But you know what? You didn't do that, and instead, we came back in 2022 to a divided government, and now we can't get anything done. We'll see what happens in the election this year. There's an election for every single seat in the Senate and the House of Delegates here in Virginia, November 2023. We'll see who you elect this time, Virginia. Are you sick of this yet? We'll see who you vote for, and then we'll come back in 2024 and see if we can get more done, but with a governor who's going to not like any forward momentum, or if we're going to get even less done. It's up to you, voters. Oh, thank you, Evan. So, regarding the defunding of the Cannabis Control Authority, that article is speaking to the House version of the budget. So, the House version of the budget left only left only $3 million in each fiscal year for the Cannabis Control Authority, like bare minimum. Whereas the Senate version includes more funding, including funding for, I think, 28 additional full-time employees in their version of the budget. Now, the budget's not yet been resolved. They're going to go back and battle it out over many things, presumably funding for the Cannabis Control Authority as well. But yes, it's still an accurate headline to say that the GOP, which is in the majority in the House, did in fact strip significant funding that was in the original budget as sent down by Governor Youngkin from their version. So if you want to read those budget amendments and see those strike-throughs, you can see that on our tracker page. We have a budget section. The House budget bill is HB 1400, and it is specifically item 397, number 1H. And that budget amendment would adjust the CCA base budget by reducing appropriation to the CCA by $5.2 million in the first year, and then by $8.2 million in the second year. Flip that over to the Senate. Their budget amendment is 397, number 1S, and it would instead provide an additional $6 million in the second budget year and 28 positions for the CCA to implement a regulatory structure for legal cannabis sales in the Commonwealth. So additionally, worth noting that CCA has the authority to collect fees from the pharmaceutical processors to cover operations. Now it's up to the Senate and the House to work it out. But still an accurate headline, but that's how we really get to what's going on there. Hey, Ryan, happy Friday to you. Yeah. Oh, hey, Blue Ox. So this is fun. People love to hypothesize that tax revenue might incentivize or jobs or, these things that certain members or certain political persuasions purport to care about. They care about it until it's about cannabis, and then they don't care about it. So if tax revenue or jobs or polling were of any consequence, we would have done these things long ago. Yet here we are. Good luck with everything to you as well, person. Hey, listen, this has been delightful, and I am going to take a look at the script right now to make sure I've caught you all up appropriately in all the things. Hey, good news. All the expungement cleanup legislation is done. We called it expungement, but what it really is record sealing, and it changes the language to reflect as much. The medical cannabis, the bills that transfer the medical cannabis program from Board of Pharmacy to CCA are all but done. So that's good news. We've got some medical improvement bills, the operational improvement bills as well. Those are on their way to both being finalized as well. We've got a medical improvement bill, a standalone bill by Delegate Adams. That's reported as well. All of the expansion bills for all of the licensing bills, whether they were licensing bills were related to adult use retail or medical cannabis, they're all dead. This is an easy way to say that. There is one expansion bill, not related to retail sales. It would allow, when there is a need it would allow Board of Pharmacy to approve cultivation locations when there is a demonstrated need for the medical cannabis program. Let's use Dharma as an example. They're out in Southwest. Their original location, they got kicked out of by a casino. And so then they had to move to a new location. Well, now they can't properly expand their cultivation at that location, so they need to go somewhere else. And this would let, Senator Deeds has this bill, and this would let Board of Pharmacy approve those cultivation facilities so that patients have products. I don't want to hear from anyone, but in particular, you all who watch this show, I don't want to hear about how the existing companies shouldn't be allowed to expand to meet patient demand. We absolutely care that patients have access to adequate supply. These are separate issues, right? We can care about how the program grows and who gets to participate in it. We also have to care about patients and making sure that they have access to products. That's what this bill is about. Ooh, I think we talked about this before, but in case we didn't, Delegate Les Adams, a very different Delegate Adams. Delegate Les Adams had that convoluted per se DUID law. That is super dead. Thank you to the Senate for killing that dumpster fire. Yeah, there we go. I think that's all the things. But hey, if you missed anything, you can catch up on the Virginia NORML website on our tracker. Living Ultraviolet wants us to help them out in North Carolina. Hey, make sure you are connected with North Carolina NORML and get involved. Hey, JT. No, so I don't think that that was a pitch for a vote by President Biden. NORML has written extensively about President Biden's public statements regarding cannabis, marijuana not belonging in Schedule 1, and his promise to issue pardons. We've written again about that this week, saying, hey, where are those pardons? Because the website says there haven't been any yet, that the application's not even available. Definitely take a look at NORML's recent op-ed on that issue, but I don't think it was a pitch for a vote. Of course, the president cannot unilaterally deschedule marijuana. It will, in fact, take an act of Congress. He has called for some things that, it's great that he called for them, but a review isn't particularly meaningful. It's still incumbent upon Congress to end federal marijuana prohibition. Hey, David, good to see you. Oh, Skyline, it would be my absolute pleasure to tell you what the limit of harvested flower it is that you can have in your home from personal cultivation. There isn't one. Here's the thing, and here's why there isn't one. Because possession with intent to distribute in any amount is illegal. So you could have in your home a pound of cannabis that you cultivated legally or obtained legally. And if you are possessing that for personal use, that is legal. If you are possessing a half an ounce of cannabis in your home with the intent to distribute it, that's illegal. We don't have to make up an imaginary amount and say, this is the amount you can have. Because possession with intent to distribute in any amount is illegal. So you can just have whatever you have in your home for personal use, you can have. You lock it up appropriately. There you go. Pretty easy peasy. All right. I'm glad you saw that, JT. Oh, Richard. Okay, Richard. So the good news is that we do have some competent people, I mean, in the legislature, but we also have what's called the Department of Legislative Services, Division of Legislative Services, and there are people in that body who can write cannabis code. There's one person in that body. Two, one who can write criminal and one who can write regulatory. I see you, Q. I see you, David. But, and also, fortunately, they have cannabis policy experts in the state of Virginia that can assist them with that. But you're right. Sometimes people write weird things. Sometimes people who don't do cannabis policy and DLS write bills for people who don't know to ask for the right bill drafters, and that makes a lot of work for people later. Whew, all right, listen, the competency test is your bid for votes. Elections have consequences, Virginia, so I encourage all of you to take full stock of what did and did not happen in the 2023 General Assembly session and put that in the remembering part of your brain. Don't forget, when it comes time for primaries in June and the general election in November. Excuse me. All right, friends. Hey, before we go, be sure to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button wherever you're watching so you never miss when NORML goes live. We do it every week. A couple of things I want to put on your radar. Hey, NORML's going to Denver in June, and you can join us at the NORML Denver Legal Seminar. Now, we do 2 legal seminars every year, one in the spring, one in the fall. This will be the very first time that NORML has offered a legal seminar that is specific to cannabis business law, and that will be in Denver. You can find out more about that at norml.org/Denver. We should have the agenda online next week, but you can still get your tickets. And we are doing we have a benefit dinner. We always have a benefit dinner at our legal seminars, and this one will be at the Marijuana Mansion in Denver. I've never been there, but I hear it's cool. Let's find out together when you join us at the NORML Denver Legal Seminar in June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Denver, Colorado. norml.org/Denver. Also coming up, but let's just work backwards. We started with June. Let's go what's a little earlier than that. What's earlier than June? April. You know what's in April? National Cannabis Festival. That's in DC. You can get tickets at nationalcannabisfestival.com. That was pretty simple, wasn't it? And then we've got March comes before April. You know what's happening in March? Shamrock the Block. Shamrock the Block happens right here in Scott's Addition in Richmond, Virginia. It's a street festival with lots of vendors and food and music and entertainment. It's a great time, and NORML will, of course, be on the block for Shamrock the Block. You can stop by and say hi at our big green tent and get cool things from us, like lighters and crock charms. Other things too, but those were what was right in front of me. Oh, I have pins in front of me too, and pins. And hey, you know what? Maybe you're not going to be able to come see us at Shamrock the Block. You can find all these things in the Virginia NORML Facebook shop. When we're done talking here, you can pop right over there. Buy some cool stuff. Help us change laws. Hey, one of the most important ways you can help us change laws is by getting your membership. If you can see in my drawer, that's fun. 2023 Virginia NORML member card. 2023 NORML membership card. I just mailed out 800 of these. If your name wasn't on the list, it's not too late because we will mail them again the first week of March. Head to norml.org/join and get your 2023 NORML membership card. Also, get your Virginia NORML membership card. Whoops. Go to vanormal.org/join. You got to collect them all, friends. You got to collect them all. Hey, this has been delightful. I'd love to do this again. Your state won't let you join their chapter. We'll join ours instead. This has been delightful. Let's try to do it again next week. I hope. Oh, okay. Thank you, JT. I hope you all have a super. This has been a blast. And as always, thanks so much for watching. And I'll see you back here next week for Live with Virginia NORML. Bye-bye.